It wasn't only that a majority of people had turned depressed over the years, although that was another crucial point of discussion. Especially with the lack of therapy and support the government provided, they didn't see the shift in people's mindsets as a threat. At least, not one big enough to act upon. Even if all the psychologists, including me, had tried to warn them. In the beginning, we could still observe a small variety in the sets of feelings. There was sadness, which hurt, but also helped many. We saw a few who were still able to feel hope and who wanted to change something. Those were the most promising ones, but unfortunately, it also made up the group with the biggest rate in decrease. Hope was nearly eye on eye with hate. While the group of hate wasn't necessarily voluminous, the consequences of their actions were. The most dangerous emotion, however, was the feeling of apathy, of simply not caring, not being able to evoke any form of emotion. It was the one with the most observed growth. It spread like a wildfire or like a virus, and it didn't stop until each and every individual had lost their sense of emotion. Where formerly the love of life had been, was now a big dark patch. It's not as if it happened all at once, though. There were signs. Need for entertainment was decreasing, as was the need for being in the outside world. Less people would go to the cinema. Less people would go dancing and drinking at night. Less people were visiting brothels. Nobody loved anymore. Not each other, not their pets, not their children or parents. The love for life had slowly vanished, and we all watched and let it happen. The ones that still had the energy continued with their day-to-day lives. We copied the life we knew from the past. People went to the jobs that they didn't care enough about to quit, bought groceries, and watched reruns of old TV shows that depicted a life that might have been worth living. Maybe it was a lack of vitamin D, or maybe a global shortage on serotonin. Dopamine was dangerously low. Scientists tried to find a solution, but even the most ambitious ones slowly lost interest. It's hard to find inspiration when you don't love. Until a man called Aldridge Foxrod, seemingly out of nowhere, found the perfect solution. Funded by a big corporation, he brought a freshly new product to the market. Something called love. Grab love, share love, feel love. You'll never want to miss it again. The ads on TV had been coming up a lot lately, but I figured that it was another one of those inspirational products making fake promises. This one was different, though. I could never believe the impact it would have on us. I was walking to the nearest grocery store. The sky looked neither blue or gray. The weather was neither hot nor cold. In my mind, I was somewhere else. I tried to remember the face of my mother. I knew for a fact that I used to love her. She was kind and caring, and my logical mind told me that she used to be important to me. But as much as I tried, I couldn't make myself feel it. When I got to the front of the store, something pulled me out of my train of thought. A loud commotion came from inside. Through the window glass, I saw crowds of people. I haven't seen this store packed since that time when the rumor went around that the world would end. When was that again? 2000? 2012? I got a shopping cart and walked through the automatic door. The usual elevator music from the store was mixed with something I hadn't heard in forever. Happy laughter. There were masses of people standing in line at the register. They all held a multitude of purple packages in their hands while chatting with whoever else was around. Even the cashiers were friendly and cheerful. Something was awfully off. "Would you like to try one of Aldridge Foxrod's love crackers, ma'am?" I heard a voice say. I turned to my right where an old man was handing out samples of something. "Huh?" I responded, slightly confused. "You look like you could use some love," he said as he handed me a small pink cracker. It came out of the same purple box that people were carrying away in masses. Employees were busy stocking up the shelves with new boxes, although people were basically ripping them out of their hands as it went. It all seemed so odd. I didn't feel like eating it right away, so I got the milk I'd come to the store for and made my way back home. Back home, I held the small cracker in the palm of my hand and observed it. It reminded me of the Eat Me cracker in Alice in Wonderland. Could this really be the thing we were craving for so long? I took a small bite. A sweet taste filled my mouth, and suddenly I saw her. My mom, with her long brown hair, with a few gray strands in between. The kind smile that would make everything okay again. The sound of her hand gently scratching the scalp of my head as I lay my head on her lap. Her smell, a mixture out of rose petals and the face cream she always used. How I would have done anything to make her proud. Tears shot to my eyes. I hadn't felt any of this in such a long time. It was accompanied by other thoughts. Thoughts that I had blocked out completely. The way she was lying in that hospital room with the fluorescent light. How she kept forgetting my name. And how I didn't feel a thing when she was suddenly gone. But now I did. I cared. I felt. I couldn't stop crying. All these emotions were overwhelming, but I needed them. I needed to miss my mom, and I had to feel sad, but also happy. Sad about how she was gone now, and happy about all the wonderful moments she gifted me with when I was still young and able to feel her love. And then it was over. The sweet taste had left my mouth and the love had vanished. But I knew it had been there. I knew that for a moment I could feel, and I so desperately needed more of it. Only a few hours had passed, and I figured the store would still be open. I grabbed my keys and ran outside. I was craving love more than I could have ever imagined. I ran all the way to the grocery store. In front was a crowd of people, shouting and screaming. I fought my way through them, and then I realized what was going on. There was a big sign on the storefront. Out of love, the shelves will be stocked up tomorrow. Tomorrow. I couldn't believe that I would have to wait a whole day. My skin started itching. The memories of my mother were getting more blurry. Mindlessly, I walked back home, making sure to set my alarm to 6 o'clock so I could be at the store as soon as it opened up. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough. There were long lines out front even before the store had opened. People were rattling at the closed door. Some were shouting insults, and others were crying. It was as if having this unbelievable set of emotions that they'd been reminded of for a day woke up a deep-rooted lust. Some had been craving for love since the last moment they remembered feeling it. Others had never even felt it before and couldn't believe the intensity of it all. It was too much for anyone. Finally, the door opened and people started storming inside. I was one of them. Together with the other people, I stood in shock as we saw the sign on the love aisle. The cost of one single cracker of love had been raised to $1,000. "This can't be possible," a woman next to me whispered. "A box was only $1 yesterday." Thinking this was some dumb joke or a typo, everyone grabbed as many boxes as they could take. When they realized that it was actually true that they couldn't afford love anymore, they started revolting. Shelves were pushed to the ground. People started running outside with as much as they could take. So focused on the product that they hadn't noticed the security. Until the sound of a gunshot echoed through the halls. Someone screamed. The security had shot a man trying to take 5 boxes of love. He was just a foot away from the door. Boxes slipped from people's hands. Nobody dared to do anything anymore. Nobody wanted to risk being shot for love. The commotion was slowly getting under control by the security team. Very few people seemed to have enough money to buy some love, and everyone stared at them from the outside as they were checking out. In hindsight, it was extremely dumb of them to do it in front of the eyes of everyone, but they were so drunk with love that they couldn't care less about the poor people craving their needs. People would shout things like, share some of it. Someone like you doesn't even deserve love, you greedy jerk. Please, I need to feel, I'll do anything you want. A group of people started attacking each other. Luckily, I had only tried a small bite out of the love. I was still craving it, I'm not gonna lie, but not enough to kill anyone. For the next weeks, the prices were raised even more. There was nothing anyone could do about it. The product had hit a spot. Everyone wanted love, no matter the cost, especially as it woke up the other feelings, the strongest of them being hate. We continued our lives. Things were still mundane most of the time. The sky was neither gray nor blue. The weather was neither hot nor cold. Music, films, or books couldn't wake up any of the feelings that those small pink crackers of love did. So what we did was work. We worked every day. We lived our lives. We tried to ignore the war, the murder, the burglaries. Crime rates were going up through the roof. In a way, though, it was better than the constant state of apathy. It proved to us that there was more that we could get if we only tried enough. So we worked and we fought and we tried as hard as we could to scrape up some money. The monotonous work drained our emotions out even more than before, which made the need for love grow exponentially. There just never was enough, so we worked more and more to fulfill our needs. Just so we could get enough money to afford one tiny moment of love.